Alright, so Git is a version control system that's being used by almost every other software organization in the world. So when you write code, you normally don't finish the entire application in one sitting. It takes days, weeks, or even months to put together a good quality product. Now, while working on a feature of this product, you'll definitely come across some problems. Sometimes these problems are big enough that you want to scrap the whole feature and go back to the previous state. Now, removing all this code manually will not only take time and energy, but you could accidentally mess up the code that used to work before. This particular problem is what gave birth to Git. Git will manage different versions of your project. So there will be a version of your project which did not have this new feature. Now if you want to go back to the previous version, you can do that with just a single command. This is what I meant by version control. Now along with Git, we'll also be looking at GitHub. GitHub is a cloud storage service for your Git repositories. A repository is just a fancy term for your project folder. Now let's say your project has gotten a lot bigger and you need your friends to come in and help you. Now say friend A is done with his feature and wants to check whether his code will work well if he integrates friend B's code. Friend B is not going to share her code manually to friend A. That's going to be a tedious process to first transfer it somehow and then add their code line by line. Instead, they'll be using GitHub. Since it's on the cloud, anyone can access it anytime. Friend B will store her version of code on GitHub, and friend A will now merge his code with her code. This might seem complicated for you now, but trust me, once we start getting into the details, it'll all make sense. Just think of Git and GitHub as airline services. You have the functionality of flying from one city to another, which you can think of as Git. The service provider, which in this case could be Qatar, it could be Emirates. You can think of this service provider as GitHub. There are other cloud storage service providers. For instance, there's Bitbucket, there's GitLab, but we'll be focusing on GitHub because it's the most popular one. Now, since this is an introductory video, I won't be going into any specific topics. Let's quickly look at the installation process for Git. So I have the Git downloads website opened up over here. The installation is pretty straightforward for all the operating systems. You just have to follow the steps that's mentioned over here. So in case of Mac, if you're using like a package manager like Homebrew, for instance, you can use this command. If you have a different operating system, like say for instance Windows, you have an installer here. And you also have these installation options for different Linux distributions. So it's pretty straightforward. You just need to follow these commands. Once it's done, you can verify it by using the version command inside your terminal. So inside your terminal, just type in git --version and you'll get the current version of Git on your system. While we are at it, let's also create a GitHub account. So I have the GitHub homepage over here. We'll be creating an account, so I'll click on the sign up button. You'll need to enter a few details. So the first one is going to be your email address. Make sure you enter a strong password. And you'll also need to enter a username. You can also opt in for product updates, but I'll skip this for now. At the end, you'll just need to verify by solving a short puzzle. Now GitHub will send you a code on your email address, the one that you used earlier. So once you get the code, you just need to fill it in here. Now GitHub will also ask you the size of the team that you'll be working with. For now, I'll just select the first option, which is just me. You also need to specify whether you're a student or a teacher. For now, I'll just select student, but it's up to you. You can select any of these. The features section I'll skip for now. At the end, we'll need to select a plan. So there are two plans here. One is the free version and one is the pro version. I'll select the free version for now, but you can upgrade it to the pro version anytime in the future. And yeah, it automatically redirects you to the dashboard. For now, you won't be seeing anything important on the dashboard, but once you start working with different projects, once you start including your own projects, you'll be able to see all of those over here. Now, if you open up your profile section, you'll see a bunch of things. GitHub gives you an overview of the number of contributions that you made throughout the year. You can see that the account was created just a minute ago. There's also a repository section. So if you open that, you'll find all your repositories inside this section. But since we just created the account, you won't be seeing any. Once we start working with different projects, you'll see those repositories in this section. Alright, so we have our Git ready along with a GitHub account. In the next video, we'll start looking at different Git concepts and see how to work with them on a real project.